Hospital application interfaces are a little more interlinked and integrated than most of us would think when we're starting a project. One of the situations that I can draw direct experience from in this case is the upgrade of our phone system to a IP-based network connection, where we went from your traditional wireless devices to this IP-based phone. The reason behind this was so that we could have our nurse call function delivered directly to these phones. That way nurses wouldn't have to look back at the room or look at a screen to find out what was going on with their patient, if the patient needed them. Now this was all great. It was a wonderful idea and it's working amazingly now. But in situations where you would have like a code blue or something like that, it would be delivered directly to your phone if your phone was working in the area that you were in. So one of the issues that we had was our network availability in some of the areas of the hospital, such as elevator shafts, stairwells, various areas of the hospital where all of a sudden your phone just didn't work in that area. You just didn't have a network connection. One of the things that we found out was that the infrastructure that went into implementing this was not directly given as it needed to be. We had worked around this thinking that we had the areas covered that we needed to. I mean, the phones were working the way that they were supposed to previously, but we didn't take into account the wireless signal that we needed in some of these areas, such as when you're going from one facility to another, one MOB building to the hospital to another MOB building. We were having some problems there. So where the breakdown kind of occurred was the communication between the infrastructure and the actual IT department. So what we ended up doing is we put the project on hold after the first trial period, where we started in one area of the hospital, our med-surg unit, and then from there we decided, okay, we're having some issues with this, we've got to increase this infrastructure. Well, we did it as much as we possibly could, or as much as we thought we would need it, but as we went along through the project, we found that we needed more and more places for this wireless signal to distribute to, or boosters that would take us from one building to another. So something that could have helped in that situation was a portfolio management system. In this case, we would have been able to kind of put into play adherence to the specified project objectives. And in this case, we were trying to make sure that these nurses, no matter where they were or what they were doing, were receiving the nurse call to their cellular devices or to their IP phones that we had now. And that wasn't possible if you were in an area where you didn't have that wireless signal. So in this case, we would have been able to kind of tie that in together with the cooperation of more than one group working together and thinking about how you were going to make sure that the signal was provided in all of these areas. So the actual objective of this was increasing that access to nurse call. And initially that was not achieved due to the infrastructure breakdown. But thankfully, because we did a trial period, that led us to find the different areas that we needed to kind of increase this access, or this wireless signal for these IP phones. We were able to move that out to the broad spectrum that we needed